I was really intrigued in getting to know you and diving into your story when you sat on Latarius R. Whitfield's platform, the Dear Future Wifey. And Latarius is a friend of the show.
Yes.
He's done the show. He and I have become friends. And that was such an eye-opening interview that you did.
Absolutely. That is a story that I do want to bring light to, because there are a lot of women who have those experiences, but they don't have the courage to come forward and talk about it. Most times when we go through those types of situations, we go to the church for support. But if you're experiencing that in the church, then who supports you? Who do you go to? You have to deal with it in silence.
Ooh, Chanel. Now we just gonna get into it.
Yes, let's get into it.
So you were on the Dear Future Wifey podcast, and you said that you were in that God told you that a pastor that you were not dating at the time,
I didn't know.
that you didn't know, you were only familiar with,
Yes.
that he was to be your husband.
Yes.
Yes. And I know that you're not the only woman, because there's a lot of y'all sitting out here in these pews on Sunday, and you are looking at the man that's your husband.
Thinking that he was a single man. I want to
Yeah.
put that out there.
Yeah.
At the time, he came to visit my church in Charlotte, North Carolina. And like I stated, he was an amazing orator, prolific pastor, anointed man of God. And amazing word. No, seriously.
He is. I mean, because I figured out when you was talking.
I know, and most people did. They put his name, church, and all those things, even add their little commentary to it.
Yeah.
And I believe that this gentleman was my husband. I did attempted to have somewhat. Well, I bought a book from him. He had books. He's an author, and did a book signing there at the church. And he could have just been making small talk. I'm not saying that there was any motive behind what he said, but in that moment, attempted to have a conversation. I was extremely intimidated, and so that did not happen. And so after a conversation with me and my girlfriend at the time, we decided to go to Nashville and visit the church.
So y'all did a road trip, and he had come to the church one week, and but you had made connection because you had a connection with his assistant.
Yes.
The assistant knew that you and your friend were going to be visiting the church.
So this is what happened. I'd never met the assistant, but I knew who he was because he was there with him. So I found him on the website, and I sent him an email and said, hey, we're going to come visit the church, not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. But between the time I sent the email and just some things that transpired, we decided we were going to go that weekend and not the weekend that we initially had said. So we drove to Nashville. I sent the email. He didn't respond, didn't get a response. We drove to Nashville. We went to church. And at the church, we ran into the assistant first, because this is when they would stand in front of the church and greet the members at the worship service. And when we saw the assistant, he was like, I thought you guys were going to come next weekend. And I was like, you know who I am? And then I explained, I played it off real natural and was like, no, we have some things to do at our church next Sunday. So we decided to come this Sunday. And so that was kind of the gist of the conversation between myself and the assistant. We went up to the pastor, we shook hands, and that was the end of it. We went outside, sat in the car. By now I'm like, oh my God, we've driven 6 hours, and that's what it's going to be. And
because you drive from Charlotte to Nashville. Yeah.
And so we're sitting, because it's a large church, we're sitting in traffic waiting to get out. And at this time I get a call, a call on from a private number, and I answer the call, and it's the pastor. And he essentially was like, I thought you guys was coming, same conversation. I thought you guys was coming next Sunday. And we explained, we came this Sunday, and, and so he said he was going to dinner. They had prepared dinner because at this time he was a single man.
Because he had lost his wife. He was widowed.
Yes, he was widowed. And he said that he would give us a call when he got done with dinner or, his plans. And so she and I, we went and we had dinner. And she and I had this conversation. She was like, well, where are we going to meet him at? Because I know we're not going to his home. And I said, I don't know, girl, because we had checked out of our hotel.
Yeah. And
so when he called, he said, typically at the Sunday service, I like to relax. I hope y'all didn't come for any, he said his name, Bishop Revelations. And at the time, I wasn't really familiar with him in the term, in that, because he's great at, he's an amazing preacher in that. You get some serious revelation. He is anointed in that way. He walks in the gift of prophecy for sure. And I'm like, okay, well, we just came to, kick it. It's nothing serious. And so he was like, well, here's the address to my home. And I looked at her and I said, oh my God.
In your mind, you like, this is a sign from God.
I didn't know at that time, it wasn't It wasn't like that.
So you weren't thinking that this was your husband then?
No, I did.
Okay.
I was more interested in seeing if he knew,
That
because
you
like
was
I
his
said, we
wife.
had the little words. Yeah, like did he
Yeah,
see
yeah.
something when he was at my church a couple days before? And they had a conversation because the assistant knew who I was.
Okay, so just for clarity, he comes to your church like the week before.
Yes.
So this is all within 1 week.
Yes.
You were at this man's church and then going to his house after you all met.
I was at my church in Charlotte Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday. We went to his church on Sunday and went to
Yeah.
his house on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, wow. You are committed.
Well, I mean, he invited
Yeah.
us. We were kind of like, well, where are we going to meet? Because I'm in Nashville. That's not my home, and so it was his idea for us to come to his home, and so we did.
I love how you said he comes outside. He's not in his suit, so
was
he
not
does
in his
not
suit.
even look like how you have really, had this like marker of how he looks.
Yeah, because he was bishop to me.
Yeah.
And so when he came to the door, he had on a polo shirt and shorts. I'll never forget it. And I was like, I was nervous, so it wasn't on some weird stuff. Like, okay, yeah, we have these thoughts, I believe this, but this is not something that I wear on my sleeve. This is not something I'm going to announce to the world.
Yeah, you didn't tell him.
Yeah, I didn't
you
tell
said
him.
you were very demure, very mindful.
Yeah, very. Because I was nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm 33. And I speak very highly of him now. I stick to the facts in terms of what happened, but I have respect. I have respect today. But I was extremely nervous and I didn't know what we were about to walk into. But
Yeah.
I wanted to see,
Yeah.
if he was thinking what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And so we went and we played games, we watched movies, he played the piano, we played blackjack, we played truth or dare. We did a little bit of everything and it got late. And so he offered us to stay, and so we chose to stay.
One of the things that you said in your interview was that you were attracted to his anointing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and that was intimidating for you in
Very
some ways.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Yes, like I said, he was a powerful, I grew up in church and I'm a student of the word. And so that was attractive to me to see him operate in that space. And I can say that today and I can articulate it clearly today
Yeah.
because I can reflect back and say, okay, what was going through your mind? Like, what was it that drew you to this man? You know what I'm saying? Because clearly he's not my person. I'm not attracted to him today. It's different. I have so much respect for him as a pastor, but it's not a romantic attraction. But back then, as a 33-year-old woman, single, never married, no children, had experienced a certain level of success at that time in my life. Everybody's getting married around me. I want to be in a relationship. And so when I think about who would that person be or what would that person embody? Now, I'm not going into church with this on my mind, but when I'm watching him and then with the little flirtation as he's walking by me in the foyer of the church after service, all those little things, I'm like, could this man be my husband? Because I knew he was single. You know what I'm saying? I knew his wife had passed.
Yeah.
So we went and I wanted to explore this whole idea, but I didn't want him to know that I thought that, I didn't, aside from just going there, I didn't do anything outside of myself that would be considered strange. I just wanted to see and explore. And he opened the door for that. All I had to do was show up.
Yeah.
And so in hindsight, obviously, I think he thought maybe I was an attractive woman, but after we spent the one time together and maybe talked on the phone once or twice after that, he decided that this is not my person, and then it was a wrap from there.
You said that it was hard for you to have a real intelligent conversation with him because there was an intimidation. You said there was one time that he called and he was sharing good news.
Yeah, so when I told this story on Laterra, it's like now that I did his show, I can recall the intricate details.
Yeah.
So that particular call, he had done TBN, and Jamal Bryant was on TBN, and I guess after the show, he did the show with him. He was so excited, and he called me up. I guess he wanted to talk to somebody about what had just happened. And when he's talking to me about it, I couldn't engage him. I was just stuck. It's like couldn't talk because I was so enamored, by this man, so impressed that I just couldn't formulate my words. And so I guess he didn't get what he needed out of that conversation. And we wasn't on the phone no more than maybe 15 minutes, and it ended. Yeah.
And was that after that, did you all really have conversation? Hey, Vault family, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, make sure to check out our full interview on our channel at Vault Empowers Talks. We don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential leaders and change makers. Don't forget to like, to comment, and be sure to subscribe for more inspiring conversations. See you next time.